Welcome to No Fun Channel. I'm Felix, and this is sci-fi shows I think should be remade. I'm going to start off with one that actually was already remade, and that is Knight Rider. Knight Rider had 2 official series and 2 movies, Knight Rider 2010 and Knight Rider 2000. The 2010 actually came out before 2000. It was set in a post-apocalyptic world, and in that one, a woman gets killed and becomes the voice of Kit. And then in the 2000, Knight Rider 2000, they bring back David Hasselhoff and Kit gets a new body. And then there was the Knight Rider remake, which lasted 1 season. I tried to watch it. Right off the bat, I didn't like it. They actually did it as though the new Michael Knight was Michael Knight's son, which was stupid. It was a stupid concept. I don't know what they were going for. They had this big organization backing them. I think they were supposed to be with the FBI, and it was just horrible. It was a train wreck. I tuned in, I think, towards the end, and they got rid of everyone pretty much and tried to streamline it, and by then it was too late. The damage was done, and the series was canceled. A good example of a remake of an old show is, sci-fi show, is Battlestar Galactica. And what they did is they took the premise of the old story and adapted it and updated it, and they took away the campiness of it and made it a serious, hard-hitting story. And now, I actually did watch the original Battlestar Galactica, and so when they remade it and they made all those changes to it, at first I was like, why'd they do all that? But I got over it because I ended up watching the whole series from start to finish. Now, it's not often that I'll watch remakes of TV shows because a lot of times we get a Knight Rider remake and it's crap. But sometimes you'll get a Battlestar Galactica. Not all the time you'll get the Battlestar Galactica. It'd be nice if every single one was like a Battlestar Galactica, but they're not. But what they should have did is just ditch the entire old crew and just take the premise, guy gets shot, becomes Michael Knight, and go from there. They could have kept the Knight Industries, and all that stuff, and ran with that. But instead, they tried to do all this other stuff. And they even had Kit trying to transform, and it's like that wasn't necessary. You didn't need to do all of that. They went over the top. They were trying to throw in as much stuff as they could, and it backfired. Like I was saying, how they should do it is take the premise, like example, Battlestar Galactica, and go from there. Have Michael Knight. Originally it was just the 3 of them and the invisible semi-driver. You never saw the semi-driver. Now, later on in the original series, they introduced a black guy who became the semi-driver, so they could introduce him sooner than later. And they could go from there. And if they were to update it, they could have, Kit would fit in perfectly fine in this day and age. A self-driving car, no one would question it. So there's a lot more they could actually do. And I know with the internet, they could have Kit getting on the internet, surfing, looking up things. They wanted to kind of give Kit an attitude, or they could even have Kit get online and meet someone if you want. The only thing I don't think they should do is have Kit catch a virus. Even though they probably would do something like that if they were to follow my example on how to do the show. But, they need to just ditch that whole program. Now, again, like Battlestar Galactica, they could bring in the old crew, guest star, or they brought in, I can't remember what his name was, but he was one of the original actors from the series, and they brought him in as a villain. They could do that with David Hasselhoff. They could bring him in as a villain. But, that's where they dropped him. They did too much on the remake. I was hopeful for it, and then they just dropped the ball. Also, another one I was thinking about was My Mother the Car. Now, I'm doing these 2 together, and I'll tell you in a moment why. There was a TV show, an old TV show. There was an old TV show called My Mother the Car, which was an NBC show. So you got Knight Rider and My Mother the Car. Now, My Mother the Car was about a car that got possessed by a dead man's mother. And she talked to him through the radio. In this day and age, there's a couple ways they could do it now. You could go with the original, which is the car gets possessed. The second option is technology. The mother's mind is actually copied and gets uploaded into the car somehow, either by accident or on purpose. Like the son's doing some kind of experiment and he copies his mom's mind, that goes in the car to protect her or keep her alive, something along those lines. And the other option is still possession, but I was thinking, the son has the ashes in the car or something. And the ashes fall on the floor, and the car has some kind of vacuum system that sucks it up into the car, and that's how the car gets possessed. So there's a couple ways they could do this. Like I said, they could go the technology way or the possession way. But either way, they could have the mom, possess the car and go from there. And they could keep it a comedy, or they could go serious, or a little of both. But because these are both NBC shows, they could also do a crossover. And you remember how I talked about Kit meeting someone online? He could actually meet the mother car, my mother the car. He could meet her online. The two of them could be talking and sharing their stories of being a car. And they could even have a meet up, do stuff, have a couple crossovers. I think it would be interesting to remake that show and Knight Rider. But those are two sci-fi shows I think should be remade. My Mother the Car and Knight Rider. And like I said, with Knight Rider, they need to just ditch the old stuff and just update everything. Just try not to be too campy. Because Knight Rider was trying to be a serious show, to be honest with you, the old series, the original. I think if they just go serious and keep it there, they could even have Michael Knight be a woman. There are women named Michael. If they wanted to go I think actually she should have her be bi and not gay. So that way she could mess with both men and women, and she could treat men the way Michael Knight used to treat women. Back in those days, the man always treated the woman like they were helpless, so she could do the opposite, treat men like they're helpless. And then with My Mother the Car, now I personally never got a chance to watch the show. It was only on for, I believe, a season. But I think it would be interesting to remake that show. And they could even create like a generic Tesla type car to use. I wouldn't actually use a Tesla because I'm sure certain people will probably ruin it for everyone if they use an actual Tesla. But they could, on this day, it wouldn't even have to be Tesla. They can use any car now. But I think one of the great things would be if they remade both of these shows at the same time. Like I said, they could do a crossover with both of them. So that's my take on remaking Knight Rider and remaking My Mother the Car. You guys have a nice day.